It pays to know your doctor, it pays to know your lawyer, and more than ever, to know your local real estate professional. Hi, I'm Glenn Drake with Drake Realty with 7 offices in Metro Atlanta, including 2 right here in Cobb County. I'm the proud leader of over 700 agents here in Georgia. Drake Realty makes the home buying process seamless from contract to close. Our agents are a little different. They're not pushing for the quick sale and close. They're pushing for the best price and terms for their clients. In other words, Drake Realty fights for you. And right now, with the lowest interest rates that we've seen in 30 years, now's the time to buy that dream home, vacation home, upgrade, downsize, or new home your family deserves. A lot of real estate agents talk big. Let my team at Drake Realty prove they will fight for you. I'm Glenn Drake, and I'd be honored to have my team serve you. Visit us online at drakerealty.com. And remember, it's not how quick you sell or buy, it's how the deal sets up your future.
Marietta City School students finally head back to class. How did it go?
And did the Cobb Board of Commissioners finally agree to help renters?
We'll have these answers and more coming up on the Thursday edition of the MDJ Podcast.
Engineered Solutions of Georgia.
Hey Atlanta, this is Jay and Lewis, owners of Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Lewis, what should a homeowner do if they have a crack in their block wall, corner of their door, window, or concrete foundation?
Well, Jay, if it's a diagonal crack, this lets us know that they should be concerned and there could be a serious problem. Then they should call our office at 678-ESOG now and set up an appointment to have one of our qualified professional technicians come out to their property to take a look at the problem.
I'm Consumer Investigator Dale Cardwell. I've done the research already, so you don't have to. You can trust Engineered Solutions of Georgia.
Give Engineered Solutions of Georgia a call at 678-ESOG now.
Engineered Solutions of Georgia. We guarantee a stable, dry foundation.
Welcome to the MDJ Podcast. I'm Darren Sutherland.
And I'm Amy Cargus. Thanks for joining us.
It's September 10th, 2020, National School Picture Day.
Here are the top stories your friends and neighbors will be talking about.
Well, it was a different sight than usual at Marietta City Schools as the youngest students headed back to the classroom on Tuesday. At Westside Elementary in Marietta, about 120 students returned to school for their first day of face-to-face instructions amid the pandemic. Marietta City Schools has adopted a hybrid model to usher pre-kindergarten through 2nd grade students, as well as special education students in 3rd through 5th grade, back into school after the Labor Day break. Students had the option of continuing their education virtually or returning for some face-to-face classes. About half of the West Side returning students will attend classes in person on Mondays and Wednesdays, and the other half will have face-to-face learning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Everyone from parents to teachers seemed thrilled by the return to some semblance of normalcy. And here's what kindergarten teacher Morden Carden had to say about the first day of school.
It was such a breath of fresh air to have warm bodies, and the kids back inside the classroom. But with that being said, the doing of hybrid and virtual learning simultaneously can be a little challenging, but overall I think it went successful.
And you can hear more about the first day of class during today's guest spotlight with MDJ education reporter Ryan Kolakowski and Christina Wagoner, principal of Westside Elementary.
In other school news, public school students in Cobb County will soon be able to pick up free weekly meals. The kits include 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches that can be reheated at home and will be available for free beginning next week. School pickup days and times will be posted on the district's website later this week. The move comes in the same week that Marietta City Schools announced it would offer free breakfast and lunch to all students. Both school districts opted to offer free meals after the U.S. Department of Agriculture granted Georgia a waiver allowing school districts to provide free meals to all students 18 years old and younger.
A plan to assist renters facing evictions due to the ongoing pandemic? Well, it caused a bit of conflict at a recent Cobb County Board of Commissioners meeting. Joining us for the story is Marietta Daily Journal and MDJOnline reporter Alex Gilbert. Alex, what happened at the Board of Commissioners?
So at the Board of Commissioners hearing, South Cobb Commissioner Lisa Cupid finally put before her colleagues on the board a proposal to help county renters who've fallen behind on their rent because of the coronavirus. It was quite generous. It would have made up to $4,800 available to folks with overdue rent who could prove that they had been financially impacted by the virus, and the plan was to be administered by 3 nonprofits. That was an issue for some of her colleagues on the board. They thought that there would be issues regarding accountability if there were too many cooks in the kitchen, I guess. They wanted for there to be one organization handling the program, and ultimately the measure failed 3-2 with only Chairman Mike Boyce, against whom Cupid is running this November, supporting her proposal. But then East Cobb Commissioner Bob Ott mentioned that a colleague of theirs on the board, Commissioner Kelly Gambrell, had drafted another proposal that would have done basically the same thing as Cupid's proposal with a couple of slight differences, but the main one being that there was just one organization that would handle applications to the program that would help disperse the money. The board approved it 4-1. Boyce joined Ott, Gambrell, and North Cobb Commissioner Joanne Burrell in approving it.
Now, how can renters get assistance?
Renters looking for help in the county has put something on its website called the Cobb COVID Assistance Center. On that webpage, folks can find links to the county's programs aimed at helping keep people in their homes. One of those links is starc.org-eviction relief, and that is a program county commissioners approved back in May, helping folks in certain apartments.
Thanks, Alex. And if you're a homeowner who's fallen behind on your mortgage due to the pandemic, the Cobb Home Saver program is still accepting applications at cobbhomesaver.org. You may qualify for up to $4,800 of mortgage payment assistance, as well as optional home ownership counseling.
Coming up, we've got the latest restaurant inspection scores.
And find out how the second first day of school went for Marietta Elementary School. Stay with us.
You deserve better than your bank. Better service, better rates, better solutions. If you live or work in Cobb County, now is the perfect time to make the switch to the Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank. Since 1960, Credit Union of Georgia has been providing Northwest Georgia with financial solutions that make sense for your home, business, and family. As a homegrown, not-for-profit cooperative, our members are our mission. Not only will you get the best loan rates, you'll get personalized customer service from people who understand your needs. Plus, Credit Union of Georgia provides real convenience with a network of more than 30,000 accessible ATMs and branch locations across the country. Of course, there's also 5 locations right here in Cobb County. Ready to see how much better your banking can be with Credit Union of Georgia? Become a member today or apply for a loan online by visiting www.cuofga.org. Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank.
A 62-year-old Roswell woman was killed Thursday in a crash at a busy intersection in East Cobb. The accident happened at about 10:40 a.m. at the intersection of Shallowford Road and Chimney Lake Drive. According to police investigators, a dump truck was traveling west on Shallowford Road while a white Lincoln was making a left turn onto Shallowford against the light. The dump truck struck the driver's side of the Lincoln, killing the driver, Janet Muse. The dump truck driver, Keith Rosado of Cartersville, was not injured.
It's time once again for the weekly restaurant inspection scores. Darren, why don't you do the honors?
Little Caesars Pizza, Pizza, 2856 Delk Road in Marietta, scored an 83. What do you think you get for a $5 pizza, Amy? A 90, 100? What do you think? How about Chin Chin's Chinese Restaurant on Johnson's Ferry Road in Marietta? They scored a 94. Looks like our inspectors were running up and down through East Cobb because they also grabbed Infusion Crab ATL at 2044 Lower Roswell Road in Marietta. And the crab place, Infusion Crab ATL, scored a big 100, Amy. What about that?
A few weeks ago, we told you about Maricos Las Islalitas in Smyrna failing their inspection on August 18th, we are happy to report that the restaurant was re-inspected and received a score of 91.
You can find more information on these restaurants and see other Cobb restaurants' inspection scores by visiting the Cobb Eats tab on the MDJ Online. Or remember, you can always check out our prior podcast by checking out the tab on the MDJ Online.
As we mentioned earlier, MDJ education reporter Ryan Kolakowski spoke to Christina Wagoner, the principal of Westside Elementary, about the return to the classroom this week. Here's that interview.
Well, I would love to talk with you about how your day went, what you think went well, and where you see some room for improvement. How does that sound?
Yes, that sounds great. All in all, I think the day went incredibly well. There were very few hiccups to the course of the day. Our staff was incredibly prepared, from the teaching staff to the cafeteria staff, which is having to serve lunches in a totally new way. Our custodial staff, which is having to provide increased sanitation throughout the day, in all of our high-touch areas. They were all prepared and ready to go, like they knew where to be and when they needed to get there and what they needed to bring with them. And so that went really, really smooth. The kids were all really excited to be here. They, had a little bit of the first day jitters. They were quiet, but as the day progressed, they warmed up. They certainly enjoyed the time they had to be outside for recess and for other times throughout the course of the day. So all in all, it went really, really well. I think that moving forward, some of the areas that we'll focus on is, one, like how can we think creatively about providing additional teacher support during the working day. So typically teachers would have a 50-minute planning period and a 30-minute lunchtime, and now they just have a 30-minute planning time. They don't have, other times throughout the day where they can step away from their students because we're not using things like the cafeteria, and because of our increased sanitation strategies in this specials classrooms. Specials was reduced from 50 minutes to 30 minutes to allow for appropriate disinfecting of the environment before the next room comes in. So they just have less time in the course of their day to respond to parent questions via email, to make parent phone calls, and to, quite frankly, to prep for the next day or for the weeks ahead. So just thinking creatively about how can we provide that additional teacher release time during the school day will be a focus of mine. We do still have Fridays as a teacher planning day and work day in Marietta City, so that's hugely helpful. They have that 8 hours throughout the day on Friday in which they can plan and prepare. But there's things that come up throughout the week that have to be addressed immediately. So we want to give them the time to be able to do that. And then I think just other things that we'll work on is, just building teacher comfort and confidence in the new ways that school look. They're managing a lot right now, from supporting their students that are in person to then supporting the students that are at home virtually. So we're live streaming in all of our classes, and that not for the entire day, but for 2 hours a day. So that's all brand new. Our teachers haven't been formally trained in how do you broadcast over, virtually when you have an in-person audience and audience sitting at home. So just building our teacher confidence and capacity in those areas will help as we continue on this initial phase of our in-person hybrid schedule. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to speak a little bit more about that with teachers teaching to both in-person students and online students. How do you think not only the teachers but students will adapt as they get more experience in this kind of learning environment?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that will be, will take time but will be easiest to adapt to is just knowing how to manage the technology. Like, what are the appropriate settings you need on your laptop and your webcam and your iPad as you're logging into your Zoom meetings multiple times to be able to broadcast your video and, be able to also engage with the students that are sitting at home. So I think just comfort in managing all of the different technology, both the hardware that they're having to manage at this time. We purchased for the teachers AirPods to serve as microphones. So improving like the sound quality for the students that are at-home learners. That was something that we were, wanted to be proactive about. Teaching in person with a mask on then could impact the ability for students at home trying to hear from a monitor that you're no longer right in front of. So how can we improve sound quality for students that are at home? Those types of things they'll learn quickly. I think that long-term solution that would best support is being able to dedicate staff, specifically to the students that elect to be full-time virtual children. Their full attention can be on the full-time virtual students, while our teachers that are reporting in person, their attention can be full-time on the in-person students. And that's something that is to come in the district, but in this initial phase 1, not something that, we have implemented immediately. So we, have things to learn to improve it right now, but I do foresee a long-term solution of allowing teachers to be solely dedicated to either virtual children or in-person children, rather than, trying to split that responsibility right now.
Thank you for joining us for the Marietta Daily Journal podcast from your local news source, the Marietta Daily Journal and MDJ Online.
Grab a copy of today's paper and visit MDJ Online for complete details on the stories we've discussed, plus more stories that affect you and the citizens of Cobb and surrounding areas.
Subscribe and share this podcast to get all the latest hyper-local updates, or ask Alexa or Google Home to play the Marietta Daily Journal podcast for you.
Share your thoughts or questions with us in the comments section, or call the MDJ Podcast comment line at 404-997-8655. We might share your comments on an upcoming episode.
The MDJ Podcast is produced by BG Ad Group, Amy Cargus, producer, Jacob Sutherland, director, copyright 2020, all rights reserved. Remember, we are all in this together. Blessings on each of you, and stay 6 foot away and safe.
Thank you for listening to the Marietta Daily Journal podcast, brought to you by Carmichael Funeral Homes and Cremation Services in Smyrna and Marietta, celebrating memories you'll always cherish.